What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. I just want to know, are you depressed? Are you possibly looking for work? Do you feel like the government is actively trying to kill you? Is it 2025? Well then, you just might be a Thunderbolt. Asterisk. This is my review of Thunderbolts. Asterisk. I'm going to keep saying the asterisk because A, it's important, and B, it's hilarious. Yeah, I saw Thunderbolts, asterisk. No, that's going to get annoying. Thunderbolts. And I did an out-of-theater reaction already for it, which is by far the worst thing I think I've ever done, but I wanted to always do one. I went to a screening for this, and it didn't have audio description, and I ended up doing an out-of-theater reaction, my first time ever. I had no idea what I'm doing. I come out of the theater, and I'm like, do I just stand here while people watch me? Is that how we do one? I ended up doing one, like, outside, and then, like, still people were watching me, and I just can't stop laughing. The idea that somebody's just, like, standing there, like, staring at me. It's the whole thing about being blind and not knowing, like, are 200 people watching you do this? Is one person watching me? Like, how many? So, in here, this is like a controlled environment. This is a safe space, so we're gonna have a very serious conversation about A24 Presents Marvel, which is what some people have compared this to. Also, if you're going through and trying to amass, first of all, thanks for coming here. Click like and subscribe. I love you. Everyone has a Thunderbolt. Jesus, did anybody not get invited to an advanced screening of Thunderbolts? Like, all of YouTube is dropping, like, the embargo list, and everybody's like, we all made it. It's like a Squid Game event that everybody survived. So, yeah, Thunderbolts is, it's uniquely one of the better movies that we've had in the last, I don't know, however many years. And everyone else can't stop comparing it to the Suicide Squad. It's like, it's impossible to describe this movie without comparing it to the Suicide Squad. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you what the movie is. And if you feel like it's that's you. But that's not a unique concept that is owned by the Suicide Squad. Nor does this film have necessarily the same sort of violence and context and everything that Suicide Squad does. So it kind of misleads you in the wrong direction. There are huge differences between Thunderbolts and Suicide Squad. And, anywho, getting that out of the way, this is from the director of Beef, which is a great choice. Because this film deals a lot with mental health issues and depression, and which is not something that you think you would not normally find in a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, but especially if you just watched Captain America Brave New World, which seems to not really be able to have its own voice or own set of ideas, and just this recycling from the Incredible Hulk. This movie feels like a breath of fresh air. If you're wondering what you need to watch, because that's fair, I didn't know going into Captain America Brave New World that I was supposed to have seen The Incredible Hulk. I mean, I've seen it, but not in a long, long time. There are a lot of things that you could watch because some of these characters have been in, like, multiple projects, but I would say your key things, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, probably are like the two if you just are short on time, because by asking you to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm asking you to watch something that has like 6 episodes, so it's like 6 hours of your life right there, plus Black Widow, which is not even a good movie. So that's the tall order. And it would be nice if you could have watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, just so you could have passing knowledge of who Ghost is. Although I think you can also just pick up, like, if you didn't know that Ghost was in a previous movie, I think you'd be fine. I don't think there's a whole lot of people going, like, where did Ghost come from? Who, like, maybe didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, But the film is heavily steeped in Black Widow. Some people have called it Black Widow 2, jokingly. I've also seen best film since Avengers Endgame thrown around. I wouldn't go that far. I did like Thunderbolts, but I also really liked Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, and honestly Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because of a lot of the emotional resonance that film has. I think that film works, and we constantly skip over that movie for some reason. I don't really know why. Is it like a DEI cut that we're doing? Who knows? These days, who knows? So I love that this movie came out in 2025 because it was delayed and it wasn't originally supposed to, but it feels like the most 2025 movie ever. And while I'm trying to like avoid spoilers, you are in a movie review. So inherently, I don't know how much you already know. Literally anything could be a spoiler. You may not even know who's in the movie. You may not know anything about these characters. I don't know what you know. You know what you know. You chose to click on this thing. Am I going to tell you specifically at the end of the movie, these are the people who are alive, these are the people who are dead, this is how the movie ends, blah, 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 blah? No, I'm not, because I want to do a spoiler review for that specifically says, heads up, these are the cool Easter egg things that you found out in Thunderbolts. But I can't. I also really need to see the movie again with audio description, because I think it's hilarious that like 48 hours ahead of time and they're like not prepped with audio description. Anyway, whatever. Thunderbolts are go. I know it's Thunderbirds, but so we kick it off with Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, and she's just generally depressed. She's in like a malaise. She's in her thoughts and her regrets, and this is all happening sort of around the same time that Valentina, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character that originated in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, she's on trial, basically. There are hearings to try to strip her of being the head of the CIA, and all of the wrong things she's done so far. And so she wants to try to tie up some loose ends. So she hires some people, namely new Black Widow, Florence Pugh, along with, we get Ghost and Taskmaster. Good God. Sent to kill, but kill who? Sent to a location. They're given a task to master. And they end up sort of finding out this location along with U.S. agent. I love that that's his name. It's just, I know that's from the comic books, but it's just like, it feels like we tried. Like we couldn't come up with Captain America, so he's like U.S. agent instead. So they kind of show up and realize that it's a setup, and things happen, which, thank God. By the way, I've seen some people joke about the screen time for somebody, and I'm just like, yeah, but thank God. It's the one thing I want to spoil, but I really can't, because I did not like Black Widow as a movie, and specifically, I really didn't like one person and what they did with that character. So, thank you, Thunderbolts, for coming in. That was my favorite part of the movie. I think people were like sad or shocked or whatever, and I was like cheering. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. So immediately the movie won me over. I could have left at that point and been like, hey, just like Thunderbolts, fixing the timeline one thing at a time. So, but so this group of heroes has to band together because they kind of hate each other. and none of them like each other and have ever worked on a team together and have any sort of partnership to complicate things. Red Guardian ends up showing up, David Harbour, who's excellent, by the way. Um, and we also see Bucky Barnes is trying to lead a little bit more of a normal life. As mentioned in Brave New World, he's now a congressman. We get to sort of see that actually happening because, again, there's a trial going on for Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But he's also still a badass Winter Soldier. And so he's investigating this whole thing, which leads him to what's going on with these guys. And there's also Bob, played by Lewis Pullman, who just kind of shows up. He's like introduced in this movie. He doesn't fully know why he's there. Nobody else does either. It will explain it to you eventually. And in a spoiler version, obviously I would tell you more about Bob and how he integrates into the movie, but Bob is a little bit hard to explain without spoilers because he doesn't exist in anything else. He is new to this movie. So, under threat of Valentina trying to kill them, the Thunderbolts end up having to work together to try to not die and save the day when they encounter a sort of another villain who is part of Valentina's roster of misfit toys called Sentry, who, again, would be really hard to talk about without spoiling because, again, does not exist outside of this film. So there are things that Sentry is able to do, including like the Void, that directly affect this film, which has led people to remark on why this film is so much about mental health and depression and struggling and making, sort of bringing out the darkness inside somebody. And I love that earlier on from test screenings, people were saying that this was like the most A24 movie. It's like if A24 had some influence, like A24, they're making movies. They used to just be a distribution studio where they were picking up the right movies, but now they are actually funding movies. So it was sort of weird for people to always be like, it's got A24 vibes. I'm like, anything kind of A24 vibes. A24 just bought the movie. That's all it takes. But I guess it has A24 vibes in sections of it. Like, that's fair. But for the most part, it's entertaining, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like 2 hours. So why don't I love it as much as some of the other films? Well, the other films felt like they were finishing things or wrapping things up. It was epic. This one doesn't quite have the epic, like, huge, massive sequences. It has some cool sequences because of Sentry and what Sentry's able to do and how that affects the group. But remember, most of these heroes, with the exception of Ghost, are just like punch, kick, shoot heroes. So there's only just so much they can do. They all have basically super soldier serum in them. So they all basically have the same power set, which makes it kind of uninteresting because there isn't somebody in here. There isn't like a Thor, there isn't somebody who has a unique, different, like, game-changing power set other than Ghost, who can walk through things, who can shift. So when you have everybody who basically does the same thing, there's only just so many action set pieces you can set up with them. But when you have a superhero like Captain Marvel, who is able to fly around and punch and lift and blast, and like, their powers are just insane. Like, you can have these huge sequences set up. But with this, they're kind of limited because the heroes themselves are kind of limited in nature. So it feels like it's a bridge. That's one of the things that, first of all, instantly I wanted to watch a Thunderbolts sequel, but I realized that that's not going to happen because of the way Marvel works. Unfortunately, this is a group that's sort of like, that's what the asterisk represents, is that it's transitional. This isn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I actually kind of think used an asterisk for Volume 2 or something like that, but I kind of remember that. It's weird because I'm wearing the shirt for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I just can't see it well enough to remember if there was one. But it, we know what's coming up. I mean, next year we're supposed to have Avengers Doomsday. So, and there's literally another Marvel movie this year. We're getting 3 Marvel movies. So we're going to see the Fantastic Four and how they interact with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's very transitional. It feels like a movie, and it kind of makes me wonder, when we look back on things, how are we going to rank Thunderbolts 10 years from now? It's weird to think that we've been doing this since 2008. And we're like, by the time we get to Avengers Secret Wars, it'll have been 19 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's amazing. When you really think about it. But so I mean, like 20 years, when we get to the 20 year mark, how is this film going to feel after a few more films have come out? And is it going to feel transitional, like it's just connecting things together? Are we still going to be hankering for some more Thunderbolts? How are they going to use these characters? Are they going to diffuse them, send them off? It brings people together to set up more things. This is the end of Phase 5 for Marvel, and then Fantastic Four starts Phase 6. So it's weird that we're finishing something with a film that is also opening the door to something else, and really sort of quite proudly opening the door to something else, very boldly saying, look at what we did, look what we've accomplished. And like, I love the end of this movie. I think the ending is great. I think the choices that they make are great. My problem is just like the layout of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And when you realize we're not going to get a Thunderbolts 2, not really, because of the proximity of Doomsday. And Doomsday is going to send a group like this into utter chaos. So the likelihood of that ever happening and them maintaining this group, it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where they get to fly back into space and then fly around. There's no way this group isn't dramatically affected by what goes on in Avengers Doomsday. Not huge spoiler, but the cast list has been announced for Doomsday, so you can see that basically they're all there. I think they're all there anyway. In the cast list, I don't remember off the top of my head every single person who's in Doomsday, but I think they all made it. So yeah, there's that too. But man, the performances here are great. Florence Pugh brings a lot of emotional depth to a character that has slowly had an opportunity to grow from Black Widow and Hawkeye into this film. And she's obviously the lead. Florence Pugh is definitely top billing for this film, in case you're wondering, like, who does it focus on? It honestly does not focus on Bucky. He's not the lead of the film, even though he's the character that's been around the longest. Although Bucky has substantially more screen time than Ghost or Taskmaster or I don't know, he's probably comparable to Red Guardian and US Agent. They're probably all about the same, but it does kind of feel like Yelena, that this is her story, which is why some people say it's Black Widow too, because she's now the new Black Widow, and this is clearly, she's the lead of the story, the one that experiences the most and feels the most and has the most emotional resonance and connection to the film, and the film that you're feeling things through. And Jesus, and then they have to bring in David Harbour, who's, so they can explore these this weird father-daughter dynamic that this pair has in a film about mental health and depression. And obviously they have a very complicated history together, even though David Harbour is mostly there as the comic relief of the group. He's the least serious character of the group, so he's also the funniest character of the group. Aside from the jokes about Bob, where they're just like, Bob. It's such a weird name. Uh, I'm not going to say that it exists for the whole movie, but yeah, in the beginning, Louis Pullman has no idea why he's here. He's just like, I'm Bob. What's up? Anyway, I wish I could tell you more about Bob, but that's definitely a spoiler review. Um, and I yeah, I don't know what else. I feel like that's I liked I thought the rest of the cast did fine. Wyatt Russell's doing smarminess, wonderful smarminess in US Agent. He feels like a toned down version of Homelander at times. Uh like if Homelander was in a PG-13 movie and um was like a little bit less had to like dial back everything about half. There's definitely personality traits that you see in US Agent, sort of that like wanting to be appreciated, thinking that you're better than everybody else. There are characteristics that he has as US Agent that I think that's a fair comparison. Um, but I I liked Thunderbolts. I did. I think it's one of the it's the best it's the best movie. The tough one. The tough thing is I really like Deadpool and Wolverine, which wasn't that long ago. So it's like, this is the best movie since Deadpool and Wolverine, which was less than a year ago. Uh, and I mean, I had Deadpool and my Wolverine in my top 10. Do I Thunderbolts? I don't know. I thought I could. I don't think it'll be in my top 10. I think it could be an expanded top 30. I want to see it again. I want to see it with audio description, just because there were a couple of the action sequences that I was like, what? What's happening? Um, but yeah, so I'll probably again have to review it. Uh, it's like I go to the theaters for big movies, but then it never works out in my favor. Like this is the second movie I've seen in theaters this year. It's the first screening I went to, but the second movie I did see Brave New World, and I saw it a little bit late, a couple days after release. And I did have audio description for that. It's just Bluetooth. Like I think that's what they use, and man, that gets easily defeated. We just do not have great technology in working in movie theaters right now. So yeah, I got like half the audio description track for Brave New World. But there were gaps and stuff where the movie just got too loud and it just defeated my headphones and it just so many things. But with Thunderbolts, it just wasn't there. And that's okay. But I think you should watch this. I think this is going to be a big movie. If this movie flops, then I don't know what we're doing, because then we're sending the wrong message to. I know Brave New World did not do well and is like, I mean, it's being trounced at the box office by other things. It'll probably get passed by Sinners at this point. This was a movie that deserves to do well. It's got a nice, quick runtime. So if you've been like, oh, movies are too long, I don't know, I don't have the attention span anymore to sit through a 2 hour and 45-minute Marvel movie. It's 2 hours. Like, it's good. You should stay because there are two post-credit sequences, and actually the second one is the more important one. The first one is more of the, ha ha ha, you're funny. So you should stay. I think the ending is going to be something that people talk about for a while and surmise about what it means for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But again, this is a spoiler review, the spoiler-free review. Well, mostly. Again, like, it all depends. I know people who don't watch previews, but then I would think those people don't watch reviews before they see a movie because you run the risk of having something spoiled for you. So, you know, if you're doing the plugging your ears and la 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 before you go into a movie, then why are you watching any of these channels? Talk about Thunderbolts. You're here because you must have some sort of passive agreement that you're okay with whatever I say. So if I say crypto shows up, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. He doesn't. But if I thought about telling people that Blade was in this and running with it and being like, so the spoiler people don't want you to know is that Blade shows up. He's also part of your latest task force, but nobody wants to mention it. I love that IMDb suggested there's only like Marvel has gone to such great lengths at not spoiling who's in, like, who's doing what, that there are only like 8 people credited in this movie on IMDb. There are more than 8 people in the movie. Um, so it'll be interesting to see when that actually gets expanded, when they let the public know all the little Easter egg stuff. Anyway, I might do a spoiler review. We'll see how this does. Uh, I have a bad habit of the films that I see in movie theaters, the reviews not doing well, like in terms of views. So thank you for being here. Again, like and subscribe. Blind Film Critics, I think our perspective is important to have, so that you know that blind people watch films too. Still, we do enjoy things. We may bumble around from time to time, and that's okay, right? I mean, it's cinema. We're all there to enjoy it in a communal situation. I enjoy most of mine at home, just for audio description consistency purposes. But they won't let me have screeners for movies like this at home. I wish they would, because then I could actually understand and get the perfect mix for the audio description, not have to worry about the technology or the presentation of the theater that I'm in, which is always the gamble when you ask somebody like me to go to a theater. It's like, do you know? Have you put a headset on? Am I going to be defeated by the speakers? I mean, I love Dolby as much as the next person, but if you put me in a Dolby theater, that sound looks great, and that shit's loud. Luckily, this is not the loudest movie, but Thunderbolts. It's weird because it's like I don't really have any major problems, because I kind of did, and then they solved it, and then they're like, "Oh no, that's not a problem." I'm like, "Oh, okay, we're good." My biggest problem is that it feels transitional. It just feels like a movie that is connective tissue and not a standalone film on its own, or that it was ever intended to be. Like there's ever been a talk about a Thunderbolts 2 at Marvel. I don't think Kevin Feige has ever had that conversation. So it feels like it's this weird thing that exists between phases, and it shouldn't. I want it to feel like it's like it stands on its own. I want people to believe that there could be a possibility of Thunderbolts 2, regardless of whatever announced timeline of films. I wish we didn't know the whole timeline. I wish we could allow for the possibility that there could be a Thunderbolts 2, but unfortunately we know like the next 10 Marvel movies. So, I mean, things like that would be nice. But I realize we can't know things like that because we have Avengers movies coming up, and who knows what will happen in those Avengers movies. We may not have any heroes by the time Secret Wars is over. You know, the entire series could just be Howard the Duck and no one else. I don't know. Do you know? I don't. I'm going to give Thunderbolts an A-. Thunderbolts asterisk. Yeah, I feel like that's an appropriate grade. I love how it like openly discusses mental depression and stuff like that at a time when I think we as a country are kind of feeling it. We're kind of feeling the malaise, at bare minimum malaise. You're kind of going into this going, it hasn't been a great year for cinema. And I think Thunderbolts is going to turn that around. Sinners is finally going to lose its spot at the top of the box office. Go see Thunderbolts. It is actually legitimately a good Marvel movie. And in case you're wondering what my taste is, I've already told you that since Endgame, the movies that I've really truly gravitated toward were The Last Spider-Man, Guardians 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And if I had to, I know they're not part of it, but I'll give a shout out to the Spider-Verse movies. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I love you for being here. Because, I mean, everyone's doing a Thunderbolt review right now. I mean, good God, was anybody not invited? And I'll see you guys on the other side.